There is a moment when trust doesn't collapse. It thins. No announcement, no confrontation, no dramatic fallout, just a subtle shift in how people listen. They nod, but hesitate. They comply, but question. They agree, but quietly verify. That moment is happening right now in many organizations navigating rapid change, especially around AI. And most leaders don't realize it's already begun. Trust is not built on perfection. It's built on coherence. When words align with actions, when direction aligns with reality, when leadership appears steady in the face of uncertainty. But when technology begins shifting power structures faster than expected, coherence becomes harder to maintain. AI accelerates capability. It compresses expertise. It redistributes information. It exposes inefficiencies. And when those shifts happen quickly, leadership is forced to respond in real time. Some respond with clarity, others respond with protection. Trust erodes in protection mode, not because leaders are malicious, but because protection changes behavior. Decisions become slower, communication becomes guarded, transparency becomes selective, and people notice. Trust doesn't disappear because of one mistake. It erodes when patterns feel misaligned. When leaders say innovation is welcome, but punish experimentation. When they promote agility, but restrict autonomy. When they celebrate AI publicly, but quietly limit its use internally. That misalignment is subtle, but subtle shifts accumulate. Here's the part no one says out loud. Trust erodes faster during uncertainty than during failure. Failure can be forgiven. Uncertainty without honesty cannot. When people sense leadership is unsure but pretending otherwise, they don't rebel. They disengage emotionally first. They stop assuming good intent. They stop extending benefit of the doubt. They begin protecting themselves, and self-protection spreads quietly. Meetings become quieter. Initiative slows. Risk tolerance drops. The system still functions, but it feels different. AI intensifies this because it changes leverage. When employees can see opportunities leadership hesitates to acknowledge, a perception gap forms. And perception gaps create instability. AI is not the cause of trust erosion. It is the catalyst that reveals weak alignment. If trust was strong, innovation strengthens it. If trust was fragile, innovation exposes it. That exposure feels uncomfortable, and discomfort often triggers defensive leadership. Defensive leadership tightens control. It increases oversight. It reframes change as risk. But control is not a substitute for trust. Control can enforce behavior. Trust inspires effort. And effort is what drives long-term resilience. Here's the irony. The more leaders attempt to preserve authority during disruption, the more authority feels artificial. Because real authority is not about restriction. It's about confidence in adaptation. Trust does not require leaders to know everything. It requires them to be honest about what they don't know. It requires visible learning, visible experimentation, visible alignment between message and action. Without that visibility, people create their own interpretations. And interpretation without clarity becomes suspicion. Suspicion does not explode immediately. It spreads quietly, one conversation at a time, one withheld idea at a time, one cautious response at a time, until eventually the system still appears stable, but internally it is brittle. Trust erosion is dangerous because it is difficult to measure. Metrics won't capture it early. Performance may even improve temporarily. Compliance may remain high, but engagement shifts. And when engagement shifts, innovation slows. Organizations don't fail because technology advances. They struggle because trust does not keep pace with change. If leadership frames AI as threat, employees feel restricted. If leadership frames AI as opportunity but acts defensively, employees feel misled. But when leadership integrates change transparently, trust strengthens. Because trust grows when people feel included in evolution, not managed around it. Trust doesn't collapse all at once. It thins, it weakens, it cracks under pressure. And by the time the fracture becomes visible, the damage has already begun. In the age of AI, trust is the true stability metric. Not adoption speed, not efficiency gains, not public messaging. Trust. Because when trust holds, systems adapt. When trust erodes, systems fracture. And the difference between those outcomes is rarely technological. It's relational.